All right, let's talk about something pretty incredible that's happening right now. Tokenized stocks are absolutely exploding. We're looking at a massive 97% jump in just the last 30 days, bringing the total value to around $720 million. That's huge! And here's the crazy part. The monthly transfer volume? It's skyrocketed to nearly $500 million. That's over 180% growth in just 1 month. We're also seeing monthly active addresses and holders going through the roof, up 49% and 28% respectively. Now, when you look at who's driving all this growth, Ondo is definitely leading the charge. They're one of the biggest players making these massive moves happen. But I'm keeping my eye on some other major players too, like the XRP ledger. Speaking of XRP, I know they've only got one tokenized stock right now, valued at about $55.4 million. And honestly, I think we're just scratching the surface here. We are so early in the tokenized stock game. But here's what's crystal clear to me. The future stock market is going to live entirely on the blockchain. I genuinely don't think Wall Street as we know it today is going to exist much longer. And you know what? The big players have been telling us this all along. Think about it. Robinhood, Nasdaq, all these major institutions have been saying the same thing. This year especially, they've been vocal about wanting to move to 24/7 trading. And guess what the only way to do that is? Blockchain, bringing stocks on-chain and making blockchain the core infrastructure. It just makes sense. So what's making all of this possible? Regulations. And speaking of regulations, we just got some huge news. SEC Chair Paul Atkins just announced that crypto is his #1 priority right now. Let that sink in for a moment. If you've been following along with my recent videos, especially the one about the SEC flipping the switch, you know that the SEC has been extremely pro-crypto lately on pretty much every front.
ETFs? They're already greenlighting those. They're clearing out all the roadblocks for altcoin ETFs. Then there's Project Crypto, where we're seeing the SEC actually working together with the CFTC to bring clarity to the space. The whole attitude toward crypto from agencies like the SEC and CFTC has completely transformed. It's incredible to watch. Paul Atkins also shared something really important on the 29th. He said they hosted a joint roundtable with the CFTC on regulatory harmonization, and he's looking forward to working with his counterparts to make sure the SEC and CFTC operate side by side. Why? So American innovation and investment can thrive. Here's the big takeaway. The CFTC and SEC are working together on a joint, harmonized framework for crypto. We're finally getting that comprehensive regulatory framework we've been talking about and hoping for years. It's actually happening, and I couldn't be more excited about this. And just recently, the CFTC hosted an event, I believe it was in the US, where they talked with smaller crypto companies about how to navigate regulations. They're figuring out how to bring clarity to the space in a way that lets innovation flourish, while making sure these companies can operate at their full potential. This is the moment we've been waiting for, folks. The pieces are finally coming together. So here's the thing. We want to make absolutely sure that nothing slows down from here. We can't have anything getting choked off anymore. Remember Operation Choke Point 2.0? For the longest time, trying to accomplish anything in this space was like running through an obstacle course. Every single step, there was another roadblock in the way. But here's where we are now in 2025. All those obstacles? Gone. Every single one of them is out of the way. Now the conversation has completely shifted. It's no longer about fighting barriers. Instead, it's all about how we regulate this space properly, how we bring real clarity, and how we make sure the United States becomes the leader in crypto. That's what matters now.
And check this out. We just got an amazing update from Caroline Pham, the CFTC acting chairman. She posted, back in the USA, proud to finish the greatest roadshow ever. Invest in America. Tens of thousands of innovators in Europe, the Middle East, and even Asia heard it straight from me. With regulatory clarity on crypto now, America is open for business. Come invest, hire, and build. Yes, we actually have regulatory clarity now. This is so important, you guys. Without that regulatory clarity, crypto simply cannot reach its full potential. It's just not possible. This is why I've always said, and I'm talking specifically about projects like Ripple and XRP here, all these utility-based projects, they have what I call a fake value tied to them right now. I've talked about this many times before. Honestly, I believe that almost every valuation we see in this space today is completely artificial. That's exactly why I'm watching what's happening with regulations and institutional players jumping in so closely. Because what we're witnessing right now is the entire landscape of crypto transforming. It's creating an environment where utility-based projects can finally hit their true values and get utilized the way they were meant to be. I really need you guys who hold XRP to understand this. We won't see that real value until regulatory clarity becomes the norm. And the good news, that's exactly what's being worked on right now. It's happening as we speak. Now, let's dive into that roundtable discussion between the SEC and the CFTC. Paul Atkins made a pretty bold statement here. He declared today a turning point in the history of American financial markets at this SEC-CFTC joint roundtable on regulatory harmonization. Here's what he said. For too long, the SEC and the CFTC have operated in parallel lanes, too often in conflict with each other. We are charting a new course. Check out this video.
Today, I believe, marks a turning point in the history of American financial markets. For too long, the SEC and the CFTC have operated in parallel lanes, too often in conflict with each other, leaving the American public to bear the costs of duplication, delay, and uncertainty. That era is behind us. We are charting a new course, one that will solidify America's position as the world's financial leader.
I mean, come on. The fact that these two agencies are actually working together on this, that's massive. This is exactly what needed to happen. I'm not exaggerating when I say this is so incredible to see because we needed this back in 2022, 2023, 2024, and it's finally happening now. I know we've been waiting forever. It feels like it's taken ages, but we're finally seeing that joint collaboration come to life. And here's what makes it even better. This isn't just the agencies talking to themselves. They're collaborating with major market participants too. We're getting both sides of the market involved here, traditional finance and the crypto side. That's exactly what we need. Now, check out what Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong just said. I've never been more bullish about clear rules for crypto. Banks want to ban rewards to maintain their monopoly, and we're making sure the Senate knows bailing out the big banks at the expense of the American consumer is not okay. Take a look at this.
You probably all know that we got the Genius Act already passed into law for stablecoins, which is great. The next step is we've got to get market structure passed. And I've actually never been more bullish on this getting through. We've already seen strong bipartisan support in the House. Now it's being deliberated in the Senate. This has not stopped the banks from coming in and trying to relitigate issues that were already settled in the Genius Act. In particular, they're trying to ban rewards on stablecoins, even though this is already settled into law. And we're making sure that the Senate knows that bailing out the big banks, which are having record profit margins at the expense of the American consumer, is not going to fly. That would be a foolish thing to do politically because there's 50 million Americans like you who have now used crypto, and they want to make sure that they can actually earn more money with their money. Who'd have thought? So visit standwithcrypto.org if you want to help and support. We'd love your help in contacting senators and congresspeople to make sure we get market structure passed and preserve rewards on stablecoins. Thanks.
Listen, when you think about all these CEOs in the crypto space, we've heard it from Brad Garlinghouse, we've heard it from Brian Armstrong. They all want the same thing: clarity.
You know what one of the biggest misconceptions about crypto has been, especially from these big bankers and bank supporters? They've always claimed that crypto CEOs don't want clarity because they want to operate outside the law. That was never true. Brad Garlinghouse has been calling for proper regulations from day one. CEOs like Brian Armstrong, same thing. They've been asking for regulations all along. But here's the difference, and this is where things get twisted. These CEOs wanted proper regulations, regulations that wouldn't kill innovation. That's where the problem was. The traditional system wanted to choke off the entire crypto space and just hand everything over to the banks. But guess what? That's not happening. What's absolutely crazy about all of this is that we're seeing even more moves from these agencies to make sure the future lives on the blockchain. The banks have failed. They're not going to keep playing the same role they've had forever. You know, being that main player that makes a ton of money off consumers, getting richer and bigger in the process. Want a perfect example? JP Morgan. Even during the 2008 financial crisis, guess who got bigger and richer? JP Morgan. Meanwhile, everyday consumers were completely wiped out. That will not happen this time around. Everything is moving on chain, and the big banks are absolutely terrified that they're losing their dominance. Check out this recent announcement from Caroline Pham. The CFTC just launched a tokenized collateral and stablecoins initiative with industry partners. She called it the killer app to modernize markets and make dollars work smarter and go further, unleashing US economic growth by lowering costs. Now here's the confirmation that this is huge. This initiative is hosted by the CFTC, and we already know the CFTC is working hand in hand with the SEC now.
And get this, the partners include Circle, Coinbase, Crypto.com, Tether, and Ripple. These are the players getting tapped to modernize markets and make dollars work smarter. Ripple is one of the key players in this whole thing. But wait, it gets even crazier. We just got another massive update from the SEC. According to reports, the SEC is exploring a plan to allow blockchain-based versions of stocks to trade on crypto exchanges. Wall Street is getting cornered, the banks are getting cornered. Crypto is in such a strong position right now that all the traditional finance guys are panicking. They're scared. We knew this day would come. Listen, they tried to kill crypto. For years, they tried everything to shut it down. But you know what we've always said on this channel? They can try to kill it all they want, but technology isn't going away. It's going to keep growing, it's going to keep innovating. This is exactly why when we see big banks and Wall Street trying to destroy certain technologies, we have to step back and ask ourselves, why are they doing this? It's because they're terrified that this technology is going to eat their lunch. And guess what? Crypto has already started doing exactly that. The best part? Crypto is replacing all those intermediaries that have been ripping off consumers for decades. These institutions don't care about consumers. They only care about making their money. But that's all changing now. Tokenized stocks are becoming reality. We're approaching $1 billion in tokenized stocks. We've got a long way to go, but hey, it's happening right before our eyes. And here's another game changer. Stablecoins are replacing the big banks. People are sending money around the world at lightning speeds and at a fraction of the cost. The banks, they're absolutely terrified of stablecoins too. That's the number one reason they're scrambling to launch their own versions.
When it all comes down to it, crypto is doing everything the banks wish they could do. But they can't, because they'd have to give up their greed. And they want to hold on to that greed with everything they've got. But here's the best part of all. Ripple and XRP are front and center in this entire show. How do we know? Because of that CFTC announcement we just talked about. And it's also the exact reason why the SEC dropped the lawsuit at such a perfect time. Just in time for Ripple to work closely with these agencies on unleashing the digital dollar and modernizing all these markets. Yes, including the stock market. So with all that said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any updates. This is an exciting time to be in crypto, and I'll see you in the next one.